It's like thunder. I know. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another Mystic Fitness live yoga flow. My name is Kelly Mays, and I'll be guiding you through the next hour-long practice. And as far as demonstrator goes, we have Joan over here. She's my mom. She's been coming to Mystic for, did we say 2 years? 2 years. I remember the morning she came with me. It was for Dima's Sunday 8 a.m. class. I wanted to get her in here, but I didn't want to freak her out too much from the heat. But we were just talking before we signed on that at the end of the day, the two of us, all yoga is hot yoga because we end up sweating anyway. So it doesn't matter what the temperature is, it's hot yoga. So if you're tuning in, you can always comment, when did you start coming to Mystic? How did you find Mystic? What is your yoga journey? I love hearing all of that stuff. So if you feel like you want to tell us, go ahead and comment. Say good morning. We're happy to see you guys. I have a little icon at the top of my screen that has a little eyeball, and then it says how many people are watching. Good morning, Steve. And if you have any friends that you know are looking to have some free yoga in their lives, you can send them our way to Mystic Fitness Yoga Studio Facebook or Instagram. We're also live on Instagram every morning at 9 a.m. as well. And we are also taking all of our content and then putting it onto YouTube. And YouTube is a great platform to use because you don't really need to have a social media presence at all to enjoy our content on YouTube. There we go, Steve. Morning. Hey, maybe Karen will come and watch with us now that she's tagged in here. Yeah, so that's my little spiel this morning. If you guys feel obligated or if you feel moved to make a donation, you can, but in no way is it necessary to enjoy these classes. Good morning, Diane. We're using Venmo, and if you make a Venmo donation, you're going to be able to choose from a handmade mask, or you can opt in for maybe a studio block, studio mat, strap, yogito, towels, I mean, you name it, and we're pretty reasonable here. We'll talk to you guys about any of that good stuff. If you don't have Venmo, reach out and we'll figure out another way. That way you can make your donation. But like I said, it's in no way necessary. We are doing our best to make everything safe, and by doing so, providing our community with free yoga classes is what we feel moved to do. And we hope you guys are enjoying it as well. So thank you for your endless support. I think I'm all set with announcements. Yeah, all right. I think we're ready to rock. So usually Monday mornings are with Kelly Spencer, but we switched our Mondays and Tuesdays. So she needed Monday off, and I will gladly take a Tuesday off. So she'll be coming in tomorrow for her power class. And this morning we have a different Kelly for you. So it's funny, it turns out that two of the teachers that ended up continuing virtual Mystic Fitness are both Kelly. And then we have Deba and Amy Marari. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you guys tuned in yesterday to my class, I did a couple movements that we are going to revisit today. So I hope you guys enjoy them. All right. So come onto your mats, either in a seated position or, laying down or a child's pose. Just kind of anywhere where you can drop into some breath. Once you arrive, you can take your time to take any little wiggles or movements to ensure that you have a nice long spine. Perhaps taking a block underneath your tush if you are in a seated position to elevate your hips. And then just allow your breath to start to creep in, starting with a big breath. And exhale. Just setting this up. You'll notice when you first come into your stillness, the mind might be a little tense still or resist. Sometimes I like to imagine a clear pond of water or river, and seeing a thought or a distraction as a stone and throwing that stone into the water, kind of disrupting the peace for a moment. And the rock creates ripples in the water, and as the rock comes down to the surface, it might even displace some of the sand or silt. As you continue to watch, eventually the ripples start to dissipate. The sand settles back down to the bottom. Once again, this glass-like surface of water is restored. Taking this metaphor with us in our meditation, identifying when our thoughts come in, just imagining the ripples moving across the water, and then coming back to that sense of peace. And a common misconception of meditation is that you have to have no thoughts at all, and that you're streamlined, only thinking of breath. But the nature of our lifestyles, this is very difficult to accomplish. Meditation can actually be just being the observer of your thoughts and letting them move in and out. Being aware of your surroundings, tuning into the sounds and sensations being experienced. Taking another deep breath in, letting it go. Over the next 3 or 4 breaths, slowly starting to reawaken through the fingers and toes, perhaps taking some movements, either laying down or seated, maybe pulling the knees into the chest or reaching the arms up overhead, rotating at the wrists and ankles, just taking any movements here. And allowing these movements to bring you back up into your seat. Perhaps rolling onto your side in a fetal position and then slowly picking yourself up. Bringing your hands towards your heart. Really feeling the transfer of energy that happens when you place your palms on your chest. Perhaps setting an intention for your class this morning. And if an intention is not ready to arise yet, perhaps you find it throughout your class. We'll start with the sound of Om, starting with the cleansing breath to prepare. Breathe in and let it go. And for Om, inhale. Have a wonderful class. We're going to start in a standing position, so go ahead and take your time to arrive. And just lifting yourself onto your feet, standing up nice and tall. And then just opening the arms and empty coat sleeving from side to side a couple times. Getting some gentle movement into the spine, letting the arms be a little free here. Take some nice deep breaths, So I love starting class in a standing position because it really just jump starts you, gets you right into it. Letting these movements slowly start to come back down, one movement at a time. Inhale, circle sweep the arms up. And with the exhale, bring the hands towards your heart. One more time. Inhale, circle sweep up. And then pull all of that energy towards your heart. Opening the arms up into a T, and then taking the right arm across the chest and kind of hugging it in with the left forearm, giving yourself a little squeeze. It might feel good to find a little swaying side to side, or even dipping down and up. Just finding a little shoulder stretch here. Opening the arms back into a T, we'll find it to the other side, so that left arm comes across the body, holding it in place with the right forearm, and perhaps taking a little gentle movement here as well. Inhale, arms open up to the sky, and then roll the wrists out here a couple times, opening and closing the palms as you rotate the wrists. Almost like you're grabbing onto, I don't know, kind of like one of those stress balls. You guys know those stress balls? Giving them a couple squeezes, shaking them out, getting rid of any last little bits of tension there. And just rolling the shoulders up and down. It's very important that we stretch our wrists and shoulders before coming into any weight bearing. And we will rise and fall a couple times here to get some movement through the hamstring and spine. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hinging from the hips with a deep bend in the knees, forward fold. Let's hang here for a moment. Take a deep bend in your knees. Consider bringing the tops of the forearms onto the tops of your thighs and kind of using that to kind of place some of your weight on, like a little shelf, so you can really release the lower back. From this location, you might decide you want to get a little deeper and let your upper body hang even more, grabbing onto opposite elbow. Now, because it is the first forward fold of the day, I want to make sure that your knees are gentle here. Keeping a micro bend, shaking of the head, yes and no. Maybe even bobbing up and down a couple times. And let's continue some movement here. Inhale to a halfway lift, bringing the fingertips on the shin. Engage through your belly. And exhale, fold. Inhale, slowly rise, one vertebra at a time, reaching the fingertips to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Ground with the inhale. And exhale. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. Exhale, deep bend through the knees, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, roll one vertebra at a time. Arms extend up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. We're going to start class this morning with some movements. So I took these movements with you guys yesterday, if you were with us. If not, you can take a moment to kind of look into the monitor before you decide to jump in with us. So these movements are kind of like something you would do at the gym, and I really love bringing them into a yoga class because, number one, it strengthens us, right? It makes us nice and strong. We're going to get those nice deep squats. And number two, it keeps our cardio up, and it switches things up on us. So as much as we like to revisit the classics, it's also good to throw in some new stuff. So the first one that we're going to do is making sure the feet are hip distance apart. And it's kind of like a crescent lunge variation. So we're going to start by inhale, circle sweep. The arms reach up. And with the exhale, bring the hands to the heart and step the right foot towards the back left corner and then dip down. Inhale to center, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart, and take the left toes to the back right corner, dip. Inhale, rise to center. Exhale, right foot to left corner, dip. Jump in whenever you feel ready. Inhale, rise. Exhale, and dip. Inhale, lift. And exhale, try to really sink those hips down. Let's go a little faster. In. out, in, out. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's take it on both sides to round it off. Inhale, lift, and exhale, dip. Coming all the way back to center. Inhale, rise, and let's wash it clean with a forward fold. Take a moment in your forward fold to bend and extend through the knees a couple times. Shake the head, yes and no. Maybe even interlacing the hands behind the lower back and just kind of pressing the knuckles up to the sky if you like. Inhale for a halfway lift, fingertips to shin. And exhale, fold. Inhale, circle sweep, the arms reach up to the sky. And exhale, hands to heart. Awesome. So how do you feel after that? Now it's time to keep that cardio going, and we're going to find another variation here. So it's going to look something like this. We always start with those feet hip distance apart. Inhale, arms reach up. And with the exhale, bring your hands down to your heart, sitting down into your chair pose. We're going to hold here and set up our chair pose. You want those hips to be pressing back. You want most of the weight to go into the heels, but the toes are still grounded. Eliminate any arch or curl from the spine. Make it nice and flat here. Beautiful. As you lift up, bring the weight into the right foot and kick left leg out to the left and land. Inhale, kick the right leg out to the right and land. Let's keep this moving. 10, 9, really sink those hips back. 8, use your hip flexor strength. 7, squeeze the glutes. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to keep this going, but pulse 3 times. 3, 2, 1. Kick through the left foot and land. 3, 2, 1. Kick with the right foot and land. So we're pulsing. 3, 2, 1. Kick left. 3, 2, 1. Kick right. 5 more. 2, 1. Kick left. 3, 2, 1. Kick right. Here's 4. 2, kick left. Kick right. 3. Left. Right. You got this. 2. Woo! We're going to be so ready for the rest of our class. Here's our last one. Woo! Beautiful. Hold in your chair pose. 5, 4. Feel that burn. 3, 2, 1. Reward yourself with a nice forward fold. Hinge from the hips. Come back to your breath. Breathe in and out. Notice that blood flow moving through the legs. Feel the warmth building in your body. Whew. Inhale to your halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant the hands and step back into your plank pose. So those toes extend behind you. Heels pressing to the back of the room. Breathe in. Breathe out. Drop those knees to the ground. Find a chaturanga as you slowly lower the chest all the way. Elbows point back. Inhale for your low cobra. Peel the chest up. Shoulder blades come together. And exhale, fold. Making your way into your table pose for a moment. Pausing here. Let's find some hip circles. So dropping those hips to one side and swinging them all the way back and forth. So usually we take our table pose at the start of our class, but today we got some movements before we entered our table pose. So notice how this is different. Notice how the body is a little bit warmed up now, but we still have those movements that are very integral to our class. So those are the arches and curls of the spines, side to side bends and twists. Let's find some arches and curls here. So inhale, arch the spine. Gaze forward, drop your chest. And exhale, curl the spine. Look towards the belly as you press the floor away. Inhale, arch and open it up. Exhale, curl and round. 2 more. Coming back into a proper table pose. Tucking those toes under and lifting the knees to just a hover. So we're engaging through our abdominal muscles. That lower belly is pulling in, but breath is natural. Last inhale. With the exhale, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog. Start to pedal your feet, bending and extending. Dropping one heel to the mat as you press the other one towards the sky. Take some movements here. Make sure the shoulders are not crunching the neck. Imagine yourself like a little turtle poking its head out of its shell. Good morning. Take a couple movements here in your downward facing dog. And if downward facing dog is not ready for you yet, you can always find a table pose instead. Turning this into some back and forth presses. With the inhale, we're going to bend the knees to a hover, hips pull up and back, bent knee dog. And with the exhale, extending to your plank pose. Really pull the belly in, press the chest forward. Inhale, hips pull up and back, bent knee dog. This can always be taken with the knees on the ground and then extending into a supported plank or a full plank. Inhale, pull it back. Exhale, press it forward. 3 more. In and out. 2 and 1. Holding in your plank pose, we're going to find our next version of chaturanga. Either choosing to keep those knees lifted or lower them to the ground. Inhale. Exhale, chaturanga, slowly lower halfway. Inhale, upward facing dog or that low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Take a moment in your downward facing dog to take a couple deep breaths. Maybe you even hit a child's pose instead. That breath is going to keep you engaged in this practice. So movement comes secondary to breath. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. Bend the knee, open your hip by dialing the right heel over towards the left side of the room. Keep that knee pressed up to the sky, both weight evenly pressing through the shoulders. Inhale, lengthen right leg back, square your hips. With the exhale, pull the right knee into the chest. Step to your runner's lunge. Taking a moment to set up in your runner's lunge, so making sure the feet are hip distance apart. Blocks underneath the hands are a great way to establish a solid runner's lunge. From here, we're going to find a runner's lunge hover. So start to pick up the chest slightly. Pull the arms back with the palms facing down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Inhale, lift up to your crescent lunge. Arms pull up to the sky. A gentle bend through that back left knee. Inhale. With the exhale, return back to your lunge hover. So pulling the arms back, chest pulls forward. Inhale, rise, crescent lunge. And exhale, hover. 2 more. Inhale, rise. And exhale, hover. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, hover and hold. So either choosing to stay in your hover or bringing the weight into the right foot and lifting left toes up off of the ground. For balance issues, you might choose to interlace the hands on top of the right thigh as a little shelf. You might also keep those hands on your blocks. So you're in a supported warrior 3 variation. Flex that left foot. Breathe in. Breathe out. Returning back to your hover in your runner's lunge. Reaching the arms up, crescent lunge. And with the exhale, dialing left heel down, open up to your warrior 2. Taking a break in your warrior 2 by just bending and extending through that right leg a couple times. So we did a lot of work on that right leg. So just bend and extend a couple times to release that tension there. And we will find our proper warrior 2 by keeping that bend through the right knee, making sure our right knee does not go past the ankle. Plug that right foot so that it's pressing forward, and then imagine that that back left foot is pressing backwards. Arms open into a T. Inhale, flip right palm to reverse your warrior, and with the exhale, extend your warrior. One more like this. Inhale, reverse, and exhale, extend, and hold. Start to rotate through that left shoulder a couple times, creating some big, nice sweeping circles here. Taking it in the opposite rotation. And then holding the best version of your side angle by really pressing those feet away from one another. Maybe you're challenging your core this morning like my mom is by reaching that right arm off into the sky in front of you, or maybe in front of your crown. Last breath here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, return back to your warrior 2 and reverse it. Exhale, cartwheel hands down to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, step right foot back to meet left, or maybe you keep that right foot lifted for a 3-leg plank. Breathe in. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. 3 breaths here. If you need a drink of water, you can snag one. Inhale, left leg up to the sky. And bend the knee, dial the hip open by letting left heel drop over towards the right. Notice how a lot of your weight wants to kind of drop into the left shoulder, and try to keep both shoulders centered. Inhale, kick left leg back to the sky, square your hips, and with the exhale, curl left knee into the chest, step to your runner's lunge. Left foot comes towards left hand. You can set up with your blocks underneath your palms here just to kind of make sure the feet are hip distance apart. So the closer the feet are behind one another, the more challenging this becomes for balance. So you want to make sure you have a nice stable base here. Press left foot into the ground. Start to pick your chest up and pull the arms back, hovering runner's lunge. Breathe in. Breathe out. Notice the activity you need through that left front foot. Inhale, rise to your crescent lunge. Arms reach up, bend through the back left knee. Exhale, return to your hover. Arms pull back, crown reaches forward. Inhale, lift to crescent lunge. Exhale, hover. 3 more here. Inhale, rise. Exhale, hover. 2. And last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, hover and hold. Choosing to stay here or start to bring the weight into left foot, reaching right toes up off the ground with a flexed foot. Again, if balance is tricky for you, you can interlace hands on left thigh, or maybe bring your fingertips towards the blocks in front of you. Keep that right foot flexed and engage your glute. 3, 2, 1. Landing back in your hover so the right toes land to the back of your mat. Inhale, lift to your crescent lunge. Arms pull up to the sky. And exhale, dial right heel down. Open it up, warrior 2. Bend and extend through that left leg a couple times to give it a break. Maybe even roll onto the left heel. And then we'll come back to our strong warrior 2 variation. So the left toes are pointed to the front of your mat, back edge of the right foot towards the back of your mat. So there's this contrast of pressing forward and pulling backwards with the feet. Inhale, reverse your warrior, flip left palm, and exhale, warrior, extended side ankle. Let's find one more. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, extend, and hold. Start to rotate through that right shoulder a couple times in one direction and in the opposite direction. And then find your best version of your extended side angle. So whatever arm variation works for you. Notice if those hips are pressing back. I want you to try to imagine there's a wall behind you, and you're pressing your hips and shoulders into that wall evenly. Maybe a core activation here by reaching the left arm up off of your thigh. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last full round of breaths. See it through with the inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Come all the way up and out. And exhale. Cartwheel hands down to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, left foot steps back or stays lifted for a 3-legged plank. Breathe in and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale. Let's find a quick child's pose here. Maybe you grab a drink or a towel off. So we already hit one balance pose. That was our warrior 3. Do we have any suggestions for our next balancing pose? Facebook or mom? Dancing Shiva, yeah, that's a good one. All right, we'll get to it. So come back into your downward facing dog. Tuck the toes under, hips pull up and back when you're ready. You can pedal your feet out here a little bit more. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, prepare for flight. Inhale, exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward folds. Inhale for your halfway lift, and exhale, folds. Inhale, slowly start to rise up. Finish it off with the fingertips reaching long. And exhale, hands to heart, ground here, in and out. Planting both feet firmly into your ground. So start by picking up the right toes, flaring them, and pressing that foot back down into the earth. We're going to start by bringing the left knee up towards the chest. You can interlace hands on the knee or thigh. And if you can't pull that leg up that high, maybe you just press the fingertips on your thigh. Giving yourself a little squeeze here if you can, maybe rotating left ankle. And then opening to your dancing Shiva. So left leg out to the left, right arm out to the right. So that right arm is a counterbalance. Make sure you didn't drop that right hip. We're not sassing the hips, you guys. Keep those hips right stacked below the shoulders. If you are the dancer type, maybe you grab onto left foot or toe or shin, calf, and extend that left leg out to the left. You don't want to sacrifice the stability of this pose to get that kick down, though. All right, here we go. We're going to bring that left knee back into the chest. Take your right hand to the outside of left thigh and open up left arm to the back of the room for a twist. Now, if it doesn't happen, that's all good. You can keep those left toes right on the ground. Breathe in, lengthen your spine. Exhale, come back to center, and left foot lands. Shake out that right standing leg. Keep in mind that balance is something that you never quite master. That's kind of the beauty of this practice, is that there's no perfect, right? Practice is practice. We'll start the other side by taking the left toes, planting them into the ground. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And then pull the right knee in towards the chest, either interlacing the fingertips on the shin, or maybe you just place the fingertips behind the thigh. Whatever feels best for you here. Rotate that right ankle potentially. Opening up to your dancing Shiva, right leg out to the right, left arm out to the left. Notice if those hips just sassed out to the left. Try to keep them stacked right beneath those shoulders. Perhaps you start a kick with that right leg. And again, we're not sacrificing the pose to make this happen. Breathe in. Don't hold your breath. As we transition out of this, we're going to come into that twist. So bringing the left hand to the outer right thigh and then reaching the right fingertips for the back of the room. Again, you can always keep those right toes on your mat. Lengthen with the inhale. And with the exhale, start to come back to center. Land right foot to the mat. Shake it out. Maybe taking a little hop up and down. Shaking out the arms. Shaking out the wrists. Beautiful. We're going to find one more balance. We're going to come into a tree pose, a classic. But I'm going to give you guys a couple options here. So you can take your classic tree by planting the right foot to the ground and bringing either those left toes to the mat, maybe the calf, or maybe the thigh, just not on your knee. So that's variation number one. If you want to take a figure 4 here and take that left ankle up and over right thigh, this is more of the Bikram style. You might even bring that left foot into the crease of your hip and thigh area. And now you can choose to stay wherever you are, or maybe you want to level it up by finding a toe stand, by hinging, bringing the fingertips to the ground, and maybe sinking those hips back, coming up onto the right toes. You might also come into a flying pigeon here as well. So whatever you like to do here, we're going to be here for 3 more breaths. It's been a while. If you are in something funky, start to slowly press yourself back up. And tree release. We'll take that to the other side, shake it off a little bit. So if you're going for that classic tree, you're going to plant the weight into the left foot and either bring those right toes to the ground and open up, maybe the calf or maybe the thigh. If you like that Bikram variation, you might bring the sole of the right foot and shine it up to the sky in that hip crease, or maybe a figure 4. Perhaps sinking down for a toe stand. Perhaps a flying pigeon. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Taking whatever variations you want with the hands. If you're doing something funky, start to make your transition back up, slowly and with control. And then tree release, shake it up. Release those legs. Beautiful. I'd like to come into one wide-legged forward fold. So just step yourself to the back of your mat, facing one direction, left or right. Inhale, arms sweep up. And with the exhale, taking a big giant step out to the side, finding a wide-legged position. Inhale, arms open into a T. And with the exhale, hinging from the hips, wide-legged forward fold. Shake the head yes and no when you get there. This is going to be your pose for the next 5 breaths. So if you want to do anything funky or maybe just find a stable pose, perhaps a gentle swaying or bending and extending of one knee and then the other, some side lunges. walking the hands over towards one foot, maybe the one that's towards the top of your mat. Hands plant and step back into your plank pose. Breathe in, breathe out. Drop those knees to the ground, come into your table pose. We're going to find a little core work in our table pose. So start by taking those right toes to the back of your mat, keeping them there on the toes on the ground. And then take some back and forth presses. So we're stretching through the calf in the arch of the foot here. Should feel pretty lovely to get that calf a little love. And then we'll find our extended table position. So place the palms into the earth. Start to pick the right toes up off of the ground, but keep the heel in line with the hip. Foot is flexed. Perhaps that left arm reaches for the front of your room, but it's not necessary here. Engage through your core. Breathe in, breathe out. Let's flow here. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee and elbow pull towards the midline. Inhale, extend that table, extend and reach. Exhale, pull it in. Really use the core and glute strength to make this happen. Inhale, extend. Exhale, curl. 3 more. In and out. 2 and 1. Inhale, extend it one more time. And exhale, table pose. Sink the hips back into a child's pose for a breath or 2 before coming into that on the other side. Relax the shoulders, neck, hips. And then we'll take it to the other side, bringing yourself back up into your table pose. Extending the left toes to the back of your mat, keeping the toes planted and finding those back and forth presses. Getting into the arch of the foot and the calf muscle. So sometimes we forget about our feet, but they need just as much love as our wrists. Coming into your extended table by reaching the left toes up off the ground. Foot is flexed, heel is in line with the hip. Bring that belly in, but make sure breath isn't shallow. Reaching the right arm, maybe if that's okay for your body. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, extend your table. Reach the limbs away from one another. Exhale, pull the limbs towards one another. Inhale, extend that table. Exhale, curl it in. This is a really beautiful workout here. Inhale and exhale. Last 4 here. In and out. 3. Flex through that left glute as you extend the leg. 2. Last 1. We're going to see it all the way through. Curl it in. Extend one more time. And exhale. Table pose. Find a child's pose. Sink back. Maybe you even reach the arms behind you to get a really full release of the shoulders. And then we'll come into our pigeon pose. So if you like a reclined pigeon, you can turn around onto your backs. If you'd like to follow me for a prone pigeon, you can follow us by coming into your table pose. Tucking the toes under, hips pull up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up to the sky. Take any little movements through that right leg, maybe opening the hip, or taking some bending and extending. And then we'll eventually pull the knee in towards the chest, send that right knee towards right wrist, and then lowering down. So a couple options that exist for your body are bringing the block underneath right tush. so that you're a little bit held up. Or maybe you just want to open that left knee out to the left so that you're in more of an upright seated position. So take your time to kind of play with that. The most important cue that I can give you in this pose is that that right thigh is parallel to the long edge of the mat. So knee and hip are in one line here. You might choose to keep that chest lifted the entire time, or maybe just for a couple breaths. You might choose to hinge forward and allow your body to rest here, maybe even bringing a block underneath the forehead so that you can relax through the shoulders and neck. And in my classes, I loved providing hands-on assists, but given the situation, I haven't been assisting, obviously. But if you'd like to give yourself a little self-assist, you might bring the right palm and kind of press into the right thigh a little bit. So if you guys can see me, I'm kind of taking my right palm and kind of pressing right below my knee on my thigh, or I guess above my knee. Maybe even getting into that hip crease, right where the hip and leg meet, and kind of massaging there and pressing down. And trust me, I wish I could give you guys all the assists, give you guys all of that good love, but maybe in the future, or maybe some hands-off assisting. 2 more breaths. To come out of this pose, do everything exactly the same as when you got into it. So we're propping ourselves up. We're going to tuck the left toes under, plant your hands on the ground, and send right foot up and back, 3-leg dog. Take any movements here through that right leg to finish it off. And then we'll take it to the other side when you're ready. Left leg reaches up to the sky. Take any little movements here, opening the hip, bending and extending. And then eventually pulling left knee towards left wrist, letting it land for your pigeon pose. Again, the most important cue I can give you guys is having that left thigh parallel to the long edge of your mat. So you want the knee and hip to be stacked with one another, nice and aligned. Choosing to potentially keep that chest lifted, take any placement of your blocks or legs that feels comfortable for you. Perhaps hinging and resting yourself forward. Again, you might take a little self-assist by bringing that left palm onto the left thigh and just kind of pressing down, giving it a little massage. Breathe here. Relax through those exhales. Three more breaths. To come out of this pose, slowly start to prop yourself back up. Hands plant, right toes tuck under, left leg pulls up and back, 3-leg dog. And then we're going to land on our back. So let your knees come to the ground. And then just let yourself lay all the way down. Pull the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze. Maybe inviting a little rocking side to side to massage the muscles along the spine. Finding a happy baby here by grabbing onto the soles of the feet and kind of bringing the knees towards the armpits. Make sure that lower back does not become detached from the ground. Try to keep it placed into the earth. If happy baby is not your jam, just extend those legs up in a waterfall position. You might even rock your baby side to side or find a little straddle baby by extending both knees long. Letting the soles of the feet come back down to the earth, walking them to the outer edges of your mat, opening the arms into a T, and then just windshield wiper knees from left to right, side to side. Yogi's choice here to either keep the knees rocking from side to side or letting them land over towards the right, taking a couple breaths here. To make this a little more intense, you might choose to take the right ankle and stack it over left thigh. You might also choose to take a block and place it in between the knees and stack the knees on top of one another here. 3 breaths wherever you choose. Relax the shoulders. Block between the thighs or the right ankle is stacked. You can remove it. Bring the knees back to center and then drop them over towards the left, landing there. Left ankle might come over right thigh. You might also choose to take that variation of the knees stacked on top of one another with a block in between them. 3 breaths. Coming back to center and taking any last posture of your choosing. And we'll spend about 3 to 4 breaths in whatever that posture you choose is. Maybe it's not even a real posture. Maybe it's just a movement or something that feels really lovely. Eventually coming into your final resting pose. Allowing some breath to enter through the lungs. Eyes are soft and closed. Soften the facial expression on your face. Relax. Coming back to this image of a pool of water. What does your pool of water look like now? Is it still? Is there a strong current? Ripples? I'd like to run through a meditative exercise. Now look at this body of water. In your mind's eye, I'd like you to imagine a time where you felt weak or maybe angry with someone. What does the water look like when you imagine this emotion? For me, when I imagine a time where I felt angry, My water is like bubbling, boiling hot. There's absolute chaos. I'm just observing. What does it look like? Now we're going to take control of the situation. In your mind's eye and in your physical body, take a deep breath in and then blow hard across the water. Again, inhale and blow the water. Blow all of those ripples away. In. One more time. In. And blow all of that ripple and chaos away. And now look at the water. Look what your breath provided you. There might still be a gentle wave here and there. But it is still. Now in your mind's eye, I'd like for you to imagine a time where you felt lost or sadness. What does the water look like? For me, the water turns grayish black. And there's a swirling whirlpool in the middle, pulling everything in. We're going to take another deep breath in and then blow across the water. Again, in and blow. 2 more. Inhale and blow. Last one. As you blow, watch that whirlpool just disappear. Blow it away. Now notice what the water looks like now. Maybe there's still a little residual spinning of water, but it is slowly regaining its peace. You can see how we can take this into our everyday lives. And as much as we are not in control of what happens to us, and as much as I would like to tell you that you'll never experience sadness or anger again, this is not true. But what are you in control of? You are in control of the way you deal with these emotions when they arise. The way you can look upon them like a body of water. Take 5 more calm and peaceful breaths within your little watering hole, your little peaceful sanctuary. And slowly start to return back into your physical body, taking some gentle movements that eventually bring you back up into your seat. Taking your time to arrive, perhaps pulling the knees into the chest and coming into a fetal pose, pressing your way up. Once you arrive, bringing your hands towards your heart. Again, feeling this energy transfer. Connecting to any emotions that arise. And it is part of our human experience to feel all of the feels. And we'll seal our practice in with the sound of Om, starting with a cleansing breath. Breathe in and out. And for Om, inhale. Thank you all for joining us this morning in the calm, peaceful body of water within me bows to the peaceful body of water within you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for attending another live Mystic Fitness Flow. I'm looking forward to taking Kelly's class tomorrow virtually. I won't be in the actual studio, but I'm sure you guys will be tuning in as well. Thank you for your continued support, and I hope that meditation found you well. Take care, you guys. And thanks, Mom.